top of the morning, and it is a beaut.
And the hope of the Irish as the future champion of the world.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio.
Welcome to the Barry J. McDonald podcast. The place where dreams get dusted off and acted on. Because life is too short. We're living on a rock that's flying through space, and hey, what the hell else were you going to do with yourself here?
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode. Now, if you've been looking at the rebrand of this podcast, or you've been looking at the artwork, you will have seen the tagline, "Dust off your dreams and take action." Now, when I was doing a kind of a rethink of this podcast, moving it away from the rightcom.com domain name and putting it into my own name, I said to myself, I'll need to put a new tagline on it because I didn't like the tagline that was on it. And that tagline came to me, dusting off your dreams and taking action on it. Now, I think the reason it actually came to me was because of, the explosion I've seen on TikTok. Now, I'm on TikTok myself. If you do a search for Barry J. McDonald, you will find my channel over there. But being on TikTok has made me aware of a lot of people who are, my age, maybe some people even older, who are suddenly finding, a creative outlet for themselves on TikTok. Now, I'm sure, like most platforms, you will probably find a lot of negativity on TikTok. But in my own eyes, I have, maybe it's just a feed that I am tuned into or the content that I am paying attention to. But I'm finding a lot of positivity on TikTok. And I'm finding a lot of people who have maybe given up on their dreams, on their goals, or maybe just got caught up in the kind of life we have of, getting a 9-to-5 job. You come home in the evening, you're too tired to do anything. And maybe that goal of maybe writing a book, or maybe being a DJ, or maybe being a writer, or maybe just being maybe a sculptor or a painter, or following your dream of designing and writing comic books or something like that. You put that in the back burner and you said to yourself, well, it was a nice idea, but it'll never happen. But now on TikTok, I see a lot of people who are doing things like that, who are, doing some weird and wonderful things like sculpture, making things from leather, people who are doing videos on calligraphy, people who are maybe, starting to write and draw comic books, people who are doing maybe stop motion things and animation and all that. And I'm blown away by the amount of creativity that people are actually showing now that, many years ago, other people didn't have the opportunity to do that. They maybe had the dreams where they would like to be a writer, but maybe they got into the family business or they had to feed a family and they never got a chance to, to follow that path. So that's one thing I love about TikTok is I see so many people kind of scratching that creative itch or following that dream that they used to have. And that's why I think that motto or that tagline has come to me, that this is what the Barry J. McDonald podcast should be. It should be a place where hopefully I motivate you, hopefully I inspire you, and hopefully I maybe make you rethink that, that dream, that goal, that talent or whatever that you did have many years back, that now maybe should be the time where you maybe take action on it and maybe rethink it. When I look back in my own life, I did find that I enjoyed writing at school. It was never something that I really kind of seen myself doing. I never saw myself as being somebody who would be a writer in the future. I never saw myself being a podcaster. I, have my own little kind of private radio station here. I never thought I could ever do that. I never thought I could coach people. I never thought that I could, do half the things I'm doing now, even doing TikTok videos. If you had told me even probably 10 years ago, Barry, I want you to hold a mobile phone in front of your face, I want you to record a video, I want you to hit publish, and I want you to share your thoughts with the world, I would have ran as fast as I could in the opposite direction, and yet here I am. Now, back when I used to, in the early days of writing fiction, one of the things that I'd found was that, I used to be known as Barry that writes the Minecraft fiction books. People used to ask me at kind of get-togethers and family parties, they used to ask me, well, Barry, how's the books going? You know, are you doing well? And are you making money on Amazon? And sometimes maybe complete strangers would be sitting in the group and, you know, I would see their ears pricking up when they heard about me being a writer. And then sometimes later on in the evening, they would, you know, call me over to one side and they'd ask me about my books and, you know, say, is it hard to write a book? Is it, you know, can you make money on it? Or what are all the steps? And I used to tell people, well, you know, it's very easy to do. If I can do it, you can do it. And I would lay out all the steps. And then I would usually find people would finish the conversation with this kind of, you know, something along this line. Oh, I couldn't do that. I'm too old to do that now. Or that sounds too complicated. Or, you know, I'm sure, you know, it's very easy for you, but I couldn't do that. And in that moment, I would see people's, you know, that little kind of glint of a dream or an idea of something they could do. They would just shut it down in an instant. It would be just closed back, put back in that little box and just cast to the back of their mind where they wouldn't take action on it. So, you know, I don't want that to happen to you because I don't want you to hide behind the excuse that, you know, you are 70 or 80. That means that you can't write a book or that you can't do a podcast or, you know, that you're a single mum. So that means that you can't write books or you can't be doing TikToks or you can't do this or can't do that. You know, a lot of us will hold ourselves back with the kind of lamest of excuses. You know, I can't do that because I haven't got time. And yet the same person will find time for Netflix in the evening or find time to watch Love Island if you're living in the UK or find time to do daft things but don't have time to follow their dreams. So when I was kind of settling on a tagline, I said to myself, you know something, Barry, you know, that is a good tagline to have, to dust off your dreams and actually take action on it. So hopefully in the future, you know, if you do want to subscribe, if you do want to follow along with me on this little channel that I have, my own little private radio station, hopefully that I will inspire you maybe to take action or just to dust off that dream, because I see so many amazing things out right now. People on TikTok, as I said, doing some really, really amazing creative things that nobody would have paid attention to them. You know, things where if they had shown that to the family and friends, they would say, oh, that's crazy, or who would be interested in you doing that, or there's no money in that. And yet you go over to TikTok now, you will find hundreds if not thousands of people will watch your video or will subscribe to your channel or will buy your products. So I want you to, you know, if you have been putting off your dream or your goal, I want you just to pause for a moment and I want you to think about what it would be like to dust off that dream, that goal. Even if it's just, you know, if your dream is just to write one book, get it published and have it out there. I want you to reconsider that. I want you to think that, you know, there's no reason why you can't do that, because if I can do a podcast, if I can write fiction, and definitely if I can write romance fiction, well, then you can do any of those things. And if you do need help from me, you know, send an email to barryjmcdonald@gmail.com. That is my own personal email address. Now, I'll probably be met with a load of spam emails from giving it out. I don't care. But if you need any support at all, if you need any guidance at all, if you need, you know, a pat on the back or a push or whatever, send me an email and I'll definitely help you out in any way that I can. But, you know, that's what I've been thinking with this podcast. You know, the rebrand, the kind of turn I want to take this podcast in is, you know, making you have a look at yourself and not doubting yourself. You know, we're all filled with fears, but sometimes even though you are filled with fears, even though you are filled with doubts, you can still take action. You know, when I look back to this early episodes of this podcast, I was crapping myself when I hit record, when I first put my podcast episodes out. There are some times now, even now, when I just say to myself, Barry, should you really have said that in a podcast? You know, is this going to come back to you? But I've just said, screw it, let's do it and put it out there. So I want you to be like that too. I want you to have your motto as screw it, let's do it, and let's see what happens. So I want you to reconsider where you are right now. Okay, maybe you might have a 9-to-5 job. Maybe you can say, well, other people can do this, but you can't do this because I'm at a certain age. Stop using those excuses. If you need me to support you at all, certainly reach out to me. If you'd like me to cover anything in this podcast here, again, reach out to me, ask me. Tell me what you want and I will certainly record content along that line. But I want you to follow your goal. I want you to follow your dreams. I want you to dust them off and I want you to take action on them. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Before you go, Barry wants to show you how you can use the power of stories to sell more of your products and services. He says that if you head on over to the rightcom.com website now, he'll show everything you need to do. Have a great day, and thanks for dropping by!